Sass extend is another directive that lets you share a set of CSS properties from one selector to another. This directive is useful if you have almost identical styled elements that only differ in some small details. For us to understand this directive, let's see some examples of this. This is the HTML document that we are going to use as our example for Sass extends. So before we proceed writing our Sass, let's first study the structure of this HTML document. So we have here a label for our inputs. So basically we have last name, first name, middle name, and sex with username and password. So all these inputs have each label associated with it. Then at the bottom we have one button, a submit button. So let's go to our browser to see how it looks like in our page. So this is now the preview mode of our HTML document. So what we will do is to apply a similar style to all labels, but we will put emphasis for our username and password. Okay, so let's start. Let's go back to our Dreamweaver. And I have already defined a site for this example, and the name of that site is Sass Extend. So on this project, we have only one index.html. So we will add another subfolder here, and we will name this CSS. And then inside of this CSS folder, let's create our new Sass file. So let's write here main.scss. And then let's open our main.scss. Let's target all the labels. So let's write here label. We are going to assign a width of 150 pixels with a font of normal with a size of 1.2 em and a font face of Century Gothic. And then the color of this text is green. Okay, so let's save the changes. Then let's now associate our main.css to our index.html. So between the head tag, let's write our external style sheet, link href, and then let's browse for our main.css. Then let's write here style sheet. Let's save the changes, and then let's go to our browser. Reload the page, and then there you go. So we were able to apply styles, but we have to fix the alignment. So let's go back to our Dreamweaver and fix that alignment. Open our main.scss, the Sass file, and then let's see the border of our labels. Save the changes, go to our browser, then reload. Okay, so it overlaps. So you can see the label overlaps to our input elements. Okay, so let's fix that. Let's go back to our Dreamweaver. Then save the changes, go back to our browser, reload. So let's add one more style. Instead of displaying block, we'll state here inline block, save, and reload. Let's put back again the border so we can see the width of our label. Then reload again. There you go. Okay. This time let's try making the size of this width around 300 pixels. Reload. There you go. And then let's try adding here padding left of around 50 pixels. Save, reload. Let's try removing this. And let's fix the structure of our HTML page. So instead of placing the input inside of the label, so let's try removing this and then place this outside the label. So we will do that for the rest of the labels. Save the changes. Then let's reload the browser. Okay, so there you go. We were able to fix the alignment. So the next move is to reduce the width of our labels. So let's go back to our Dreamweaver and open our Sass file and reduce the width to around, let's say, 70 pixels. And then let's reload again the browser. Okay, it's too small. Let's go back to the Dreamweaver and try resizing this to 100. And then let's reload again. Okay, the middle name is still too small. So let's try fixing this for about 150. So there you go. And then let's now remove the border as well as the display. And let's reload. After removing the inline block, it messes up the alignment of our text box. So let's put it back again. So display, inline, block. Save the changes, then reload. Okay, there you go. And then let's create a space, a good spacing between each field. Last name, then a short space, then first name, then another space, middle name, and then spaces, and we will do that for the rest of these fields. Okay, so let's go. Margin bottom, 5 pixels. Reload. Turn this to 10 pixels. Reload. Okay, so there you go. So what we did here is we targeted the label, assigning it a width with a value of 150, and then stating that the font should have a normal style with a size of 1.2 em using the font Century Gothic. And then the color of our label are all green, and then setting the display into inline block, and then assigning a margin at the bottom with a value of 10 pixels. So, but for username and password, we want to make this special. So we are going to add another style specifically for password and username. While the username and password inherits the styles from the last name, first name, middle name, and sex, it will also contain a special style only intended for username and password. And we will do that by the help of extend. So let's go to our Dreamweaver, and then let's define here. We will start with the percent symbol, and we will state here special field. And then from here, we will write here that the color of this should be orange, and then text decoration underline. Then we will create a class around here, special label. Let's write here extend special field. Okay, then save the changes, and then let's see what happened to our main.css. So we now have the definition for our label and a class definition for our special label. But as you can see, it did not transpile the style that we have defined for a special field. Okay, now let's add the class special label to our HTML input tags. Class special label, and then for username, we will also do the same, special label. Save the changes, go to our browser, then reload. There you go. So the username and password adopted the style for all the labels. But in addition to that, it contained additional styles. And we achieved that by using the extend directive. So let's go back to our Dreamweaver, open our Sass file. So we define the style for our label. These are the styles. And we created a placeholder for special field, which contains sets of style. And we created a class informing that this class will inherit the styles from our special field. So what happened here is that on our index.html, all the labels adopted the style of the label selector. And on this part, for our password and username, since they are also labels, such as this one and this one, they were also affected by this style. So that is why we were able to maintain the padding and spacing for all the labels. Let's go back to our Dreamweaver and let's add styles to our input tags. Let's open our Sass file. Then at the bottom of our Sass file, we will write a class definition here. So let's say it here regular text field. And then we will add padding to our text field for about 10 pixels. Then let's add a round corner to our text field by writing here the border radius for about 5 pixels. And then let's add a border. Let's copy the class name and paste this inside of each input tags we have here. So let's write class and then regular text field. So that will be the class assignment of all the inputs. So let's copy and paste this. Save the changes, go to our browser, and then reload. Okay, so I guess the padding was too big. So let's reduce the padding to a smaller size. Let's go back to our Dreamweaver, open our Sass file, and then let's turn the padding from 10px. Let's turn this to 7 pixels. Then save, go back to our browser, then reload. So there you go. And then for the last part, we are going to turn our text field for our username and password to be different from the rest. So let's go to our Dreamweaver, and then let's write here another class definition. Then let's add the word extend. And then we are going to inherit the styles we have for our regular text field class. So let's copy and paste this. And then let's add a border color. Let's save the changes, go to our browser, and then reload. Okay, so it did not change anything because we forgot to assign this to our text field. So let's copy this, paste this to our username and password. So there you go. For password, we rename our class to special text field. Same with our user text field, we rename the class name into special text field. So let's save the changes, go to our browser, then reload. So there you go. We were able to apply emphasis for our username and password by using the extend directives. So what we did on our Sass file is we added a new class selector defining the padding, border radius, and border, and then inherits this style from our another class selector named special text field, and then redefining the border with a color of orange. So that's all for this video, and see you in the next lectures.